Guys, welcome to Sports Corner Nigeria. This be the transfer segment. You know, say it's the season they can't start. In the middle of August, everything will start. So people they buy and sell and other things. Everybody they do good business, but we could start with our African brothers. We now Ademola Lookman, the best player for the whole African continent. Whether you like it or not, you vote for him or you don't vote for him. I beg you, he be win him. So now Inter Milan are very serious on these players. Rather, they want to get him into their team, but we all know money and other things there. It will be more free. They take the buy player, or you have to be ready to pay the money. Inter Milan has made a first bid of 40 million euros, but it was rejected by Atlanta because Atlanta wants an improved offer of 50 million plus. When Atlanta too is one of the teams, when they are selling their prospects, they don't sell them for low prices. And we know Ademola Lookman is not a prospect anymore. It's a finished article. Yeah, but right now, the problem is Inter Milan, we all know their preferred formation for some time now has been 3-5-2, two strikers. But they've had a new coach now, and the coach is planning for a three fronts. That is Ademola Lookman, Lautaro Martinez, and Thuram. And we all know what Ademola Lookman, which is standing now and his performance now, you can't just buy him and come and put him on the bench. Because Inter will be signing him, and I believe this season will be the highest signing player for Inter Milan. So you won't buy a player for over 50 million and come and put him on the bench. So as you are saying, we all know Inter Milan is an upgrade of Atlanta. But would that choice be good for him because of the way Inter plays? Because this coach, we all know, is trying to bring something new, but we all know adaptation and other things are problems. So when you bring something new and it's not picking, the fans will start giving, hey, we want to play back to our position. What you are doing there, we don't like it and things. So let's see, would this move help the player? For me, I think yes. Because going to Inter Milan there, he will be fighting for trophies and other things. Because we all know Inter Milan, for the past 4 or 5 years, they've won the Scudetto twice. So they are one of the best teams. Just now, some 1 or 2 things didn't go well there for them last season, that they lost the Scudetto to Napoli. Even when they lost by a point. So, and even the last home game, if they won that game against Lazio, they would have won the Scudetto. So Inter Milan, the winning titles in Italy is very simple for them. So I would love for Ademola Lookman to go there. But according to sources, Inter Milan are coming with an improved offer of 45 million euros. That's 5 million euros short of what Atlanta wants. But they said they will be sitting down and negotiating with Atlanta and some add-ons and other things so that the money will rise up to the 50 that Atlanta is wanting. So let's see whether Inter Milan will seal that deal with Atlanta, because the player has already agreed personal terms. He's going to earn 4 million euros a season with Inter Milan. So for that one there, from the player side, it's done and dusted. But Atlanta, for that one, you know, they concern them. They want to take their money. They want the 15 million and above. So let's see what Inter is going to do, because the players already agreed personal terms with Inter Milan. So it's left with them to sort it out with Atlanta and they get their player. And now let's go to Osimhen too. Victor Osimhen, finally, he has finally signed for Galatasaray. So this week, before the end of the week, they'll be presenting him to their fans. And they are going to do him the welcome of the king. The king is back. Because we all know he went to loan last season and did marvelously well with them. Scored goals, win the top scorer and other things with them. So we all know. And I think Gala did very, very well. Even though Napoli stretched them, but Gala really showed that they loved the player and they wanted him in their team, and they did well. And I think that's the reason why Osimhen chose Gala above most of the things that wanted him. Because we all know he rejected a big offer of almost 50 million a season salary from Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia to play for Gala. So let's see how that thing is going to happen, because I'm hoping unity, and we all know Gala have signing and other things. They are signing big players. They want to compete very well in the Champions League. So this is one of the, I'm sure that their project entices Osimhen enough, because he wants a stable environment to perform. And with this project and making him the star boy, the head of the project, to be difficult for a player to say no. So with this, I think one of the reasons that Osimhen chose Gala over all these things. And now to the helms of Real Madrid. You all know Real Madrid, they have not started their preseason yet. They'll be starting on the 4th of August because of the Club World Cup. They just played in, so most of the players have gone on break. And Rodrygo. Now it's finally out that Real Madrid are ready to sell Rodrygo and 4 other players. But Real Madrid are ready to sell Rodrygo because they know Rodrygo is one of the players that is going to give them the highest money. Because Rodrygo, according to sources, he have 100 million euros. If you want to buy Rodrygo, the least you can pay is 100 million euros. So I think Liverpool and Arsenal were interested in signing Rodrygo, but I think for me, it will be difficult now because Rodrygo, for me, I think he did some things wrong. After the Club World Cup, he should have announced that he wants to leave the club. But he kept on being quiet and quiet and quiet. And look at now Liverpool. They've signed a player, Hugo Ekitike, for 90 million euros. They are planning to sign Isak for another 150 million euros. So with this, I don't think Liverpool will have any need for Rodrygo. And now let's go to the affairs of Arsenal too. Arsenal are vying for Rodrygo, but they've signed Gyökeres for almost 65 million pounds. And now Arsenal are talking to Eberechi with a deal which almost done. Because according to sources, Arsenal want to pay almost 60 million pounds because we know the player has a release clause of 67.5 million pounds. But Arsenal wants to negotiate, and Arsenal have gone far in that negotiation to just stop because of Rodrygo trying to come to Arsenal or anything. So Rodrygo, I think if he doesn't make a big move this season, he has himself to blame because he had so many opportunities to announce his departure from Real Madrid, but he kept shut and allow other teams to work on their transfer. And now most of the big teams, they have already involved themselves into a lot of transfers. So most of the money, and we all know Rodrygo is not going to come cheap. It's one of the players that they are not going to come cheap at all. You have to spend in excess of 80 million pounds before you can get Rodrygo. So now how many teams are ready to spend that much? And you can't buy a player like that and put him on the bench. So ask yourself, is any team willing to pay that amount of money, or is it that needed in a team for them to spend that amount of money? Because buying a player for 80 million pounds, there's no way any player will be bought for that amount and sit on the bench. So he has to be an automatic starter. That means the team have a big plan for you, or the coach wants you to be in his projects. So will Liverpool and Arsenal break the bank for Rodrygo? Only time will tell, because this transfers is funny. Before you realize, yeah, then things are starting to happen. So let's see what's happening. And Liverpool, Luis Diaz. Finally, Luis Diaz has left Liverpool and he has completed his medical with Bayern Munich. So he'll be presented to the fans on Thursday. Finally, we all know Luis Diaz, it was an open secret that he wanted to leave Liverpool because of his salary. I believe his salary he was getting at Liverpool was very low. A player of the caliber of Luis Diaz was paid just 55,000 pounds a week. Wow, that's too small. You understand? So he got a better offer with Bayern Munich. They are giving him 14 million euros a season, which is equivalent to almost 270 to 80,000 pounds a week. Liverpool, let's be frank, if Liverpool are planning to increase his salary, because Liverpool offered him a new deal and he rejected it. We know that there's no way the money increase will be more than 200,000 pounds. So, and he's 28 years of age. So this is one of his last big contracts he's going to sign. So for me, I support him fully. And going to Liverpool, from Liverpool to Bayern Munich, he never say it's not a progress. It's a very, very good progress. Even though right now I won't say Liverpool or I won't say Bayern Munich is a better team than Liverpool. But him leaving Liverpool for Bayern Munich is the same standard, because Liverpool, you see them every day in the Champions League quarterfinal, and the German Bundesliga is you are guaranteed to win it. So with Bayern Munich, they are going to win laurels and other things. So there's no way that you say that him going to Bayern Munich there is a bad deal, because it's a very, very good deal for him. With even Bayern Munich, he's going to play all the time, because there's no way they are going to sign him for that huge amount of money, 65 million pounds, and put him on the bench. There's no coach is going to do that. So let's see what happens. And now let's go to the affairs of Chelsea. Chelsea, we all know them, the world champions. They are doing very, very well. And Chelsea have a lot of youngsters that they are planning to sell, because they have also youngsters that they are planning to sell out. But look at Chelsea. They have a discussion with Xavi Simons. According to sources, Sky Germany, Xavi Simons have already agreed personal terms with Chelsea. So now it's up to Chelsea to talk with Leipzig. And we all know Leipzig, they are one of the top knocks to crack when it comes to transfers. Because when you try to buy their player, I tell you, they are going to stretch you. Leipzig, Frankfurt, Napoli, Lazio, those teams... because they see themselves as a feeder class to the big team, so they don't let their stars leave just for nothing. They stretch you and they squeeze every dollar or every pound out of you. So let's see, because according to sources, Chelsea are now approaching. They've made some discussions, but they are now going with a formal bid. You see, there's a difference with discussion and presenting a formal bid. Chelsea has some discussion, but they have not presented any formal bid. So now before Chelsea are planning to present a formal bid for Xavi Simons. So let's see how that goes, because as time goes on, I'm going to bring you updates on their stories, because this is, I think, according to sources, is entering the final stage of discussion and all that things. But let's see how that will go. And Chelsea too, about Jerome Ato. You all know that Ajax defender, very, very good. He's a defender that can play as a centre back and as a left back. So he's one of the utility players that you can get in Chelsea. Chelsea are planning to buy him. And we've heard that he has agreed personal term with Chelsea. You see, Chelsea's project is very juicy and lucrative. The young boys are willing to play for Chelsea because Chelsea is building a team, or Chelsea is having something that they are trying to tell you, that the young boys are ready to play. You understand? So they are giving their young players an opportunity. So those prospects that wants to blow up are now enjoying going to Chelsea. You understand? Because you realize most of the players that Chelsea are signing are less than 24 years old. So that should tell you that Chelsea are signing good and quality players now, because this is one of a good project that all the young boys are happy and willing to join. So Chelsea here, I think they are doing very, very well in the transfer market, because and now they are even planning to go for Morgan Rogers for almost £100 million. And that's his valuation by Aston Villa, but we all know that's just valuation. So Chelsea are going in, they'll try to make an offer or go with a cash plus player offer, which is they'll be going with Nicolas Jackson. You understand? Because Nicolas Jackson is not wanted in the team anymore, because Chelsea already has 2 strikers. So you have to let Nicolas Jackson go. So this is what is happening in the transfer market now. And the player that Chelsea will be ready to offer 2 players and cash, which is Tommy Adarabio and Nicolas Jackson for Morgan Rogers. So it's cash plus the 2 players or cash on table. So this will be Aston Villa's choice to make. But according to sources, Aston Villa has indicated that the player is not for sale. So Chelsea has the way. The ball is in their courts. It's either they have to try to lie them and agree them. I think the cash player will be good for Aston Villa. But the problem is, will the 2 players be ready to move? That is the problem, because you know players in Chelsea get huge salaries and stuff. So will they be ready to move? Because there's no way Aston Villa can pay a player like the way Chelsea will play. So will the players be ready to leave Chelsea and go to Aston Villa? You understand? So Chelsea, the players, normally cash and player offer is a bit dicey, because sometimes the players are not willing to move or to exchange clubs. Understand? We all know how it's happened between Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Samuel Eto'o. You understand? Barca bought Zlatan Ibrahimovic with money plus Samuel Eto'o for Ibrahimovic. You all know how Eto'o stretched Barca before he left Barca for Inter Milan. But along that was one of the best deals that Eto'o could have done. You understand? So let me come to the helms of Manchester United. Manchester, they are having problems selling their players. And you see, I'm not blaming anybody, I'm blaming Manchester themselves. Because you see, you want to sell your players for big money. So why are you freezing them out of the team? The moment you freeze players out of the team, you are trying to tell the other teams that those players are not needed. You understand? So the way you present your things, the players will come the same way. That's why they say you dress the way you want to be addressed. So Manchester, you frozen Sancho. You've frozen Rashford. Luckily, Rashford has gone to Barcelona. Even Rashford went, they didn't get even $1 for him. The only thing is, Barca will be paying his salary. And Rashford has even accepted to reduce his salary by 30% for Barcelona. So it's a gain for Barcelona. And the only thing is, Barca have an option to buy. And even it's not compulsory. After the only compulsory is when he performs. So after he performs, the Barca will pay Manchester 40 million euros. But what about he doesn't perform? They will just come back to Manchester and be there. So you see, you understand. When you freeze your players out, Anthony 1, Sancho 2, Malacia 3, Garnacho 4, and Sancho 5. So but 1 is gone. That is Rashford is already gone. So we now left with 4 players. These players are players that when they are in the Man United team, and Man United is trying to sell them, Man United will get up to £100 million for these 4 players. But they don't know how to do business, because when you freeze them out, the other teams also take notes of that. So when they are coming to buy, they don't bring big money, because they know you have already let them aware that you don't like the player. So look at Garnacho. Manchester have to reduce its money from 70 to 40. Even now, look at the team. See, I tell you, I won't lie to you, most of the teams want Garnacho, but they are bidding their time. They know when to strike. They are waiting for maybe 2 weeks or 1 week to the end of the transfer, because they know when that time comes, Manchester will be desperate to lay these players off. So any stupid money that they bring, you accept it. You bring money which is less than the player's value at all, but you accept, because now you have lost the bargaining chip. You understand? Because Manchester had the advantage, because most of these players has long contract, 3 years, 4 years and things. But the way Manchester handled the situation is very, very wrong. So now they are finally got to offload these players. But Anthony, very soon we are hoping he will leave the club, because according to sources, Saudi Arabia team, Al Nassr, Cristiano Ronaldo, they are planning to sign him. You understand? Because they have already signed Joao Felix from Chelsea, so they are planning to add another player to their squad. So they are beefing their squad because they want to win something for Al Nassr next season. So they are buying players and all that stuff. So Manchester, they should learn from the Real Madrid situation. Look at Real Madrid. It was clear that Alonso didn't want Rodrygo, but look at the way he massaged the situation and made it now. And now still Rodrygo is having a huge value. If Alonso had undermined Rodrygo doing the Club World Cup, I tell you, even 60 or 70 million would have been difficult for a team to pay. But look at Tottenham are even wanting Rodrygo, and I heard that they've even gone with an offer of over 80 million. That should tell you. You understand? I should tell you the difference between the two clubs of handling transfer issues. Sometimes there are some things that the players that pisses the club off, but when you want to sell them, you hold your horses. You sit down and analyze. Because these players sometimes they do some of these things because no matter the situation, they are getting paid. Right now, Manchester is paying Sancho and the rest. You understand? And Sancho is earning almost close to £300,000. Look at Sancho. He has rejected Chelsea because of salary. Napoli the same thing. Juventus the same thing. You think if this guy was not being paid by Manchester, he had been doing all these things? He had left a long time ago, but because he knows Manchester are still paying him now, he doesn't care. Because he didn't say he will not play for Manchester. Manchester are the one who are freezing him out of the team. So the way Manchester handle the situation is very, very bad. They should learn. Because when you want to sell your players, you know how to do your things well and sell them well. So Manchester, you guys should learn. Otherwise, you keep on facing such problems. Look at Chelsea. They are selling their players for good monies. You understand? Because of how they are handling their issues. But Manchester, no. You'll be fighting with players and doing all those things. When you want to sell the player, that will not help your cause at all. So Manchester, you be very careful. They should handle the club well. Because no matter how much money you have to bring money in to be able to sustain the club's level. Otherwise, Charlie, when I want to tell like Barca situation, when I go tire off. So make them look sharp. Now let's go to the firms of Liverpool. Liverpool are doing very well in the transfer market. They won the Premier League last season. Actually, right now, the whole world, the team that have bought a lot of players with a huge money is Liverpool. They spent over £300 million on players. And they are still counting. They are planning to buy Isaac. And now this is their plan they are using. Liverpool has spent almost 300 million on signing on. So now they are planning to sell 3 players, which is one is David Nunes, 2 is Elliott, and 3 is Chesa. They are hoping to recruit about £100 million from those 3 players. And we all know they have sold Luis Diaz for 65 million. So when they have that money can reduce half of what they have spent already. So meaning they can spend another 150 on another player, which still will leave their expenditure at 300 million. You understand? So that is the tactics that they are using now. And let's see. And according to some sports, according to Sky Switzerland, Isaac has already agreed personal terms with Liverpool. So now it's left with Liverpool to go and discuss things with Newcastle. Newcastle are insisting that the boy is not for sale, but we all know that actually they don't have a choice. They have to sell the guy because the guy wants to leave. And what can you do when the player wants to leave? Sometimes it's very, very difficult because you don't want a player that will unsettle the dressing room for you. And you know what? He's one of the big boys. So when you have a big boy like that causing problem, I tell you, it's better you sell him for the good money, because selling Isaac now, they are going to get good money. You are going to get, I won't lie to you, you'll get in excess of £120 million. So it's better to sell him now than to allow him cause problem and for his performance to drop and his value to also drop before you sell him. So who have lost? So now that you have the opportunity to sell him when his form is high, you better let him go and be free, because he wants a pay increase. And the new executive of Newcastle is not allowing. The chairman says that no, he will not give you a pay increase, because he knows that the player has about 3 years left on his contract. So the team are in an advantage position. You know, when it comes to new contract and stuff, when you are left with 3 or 4 years, that is where the team are happy because they know they have the advantage now. But when a player is left with a year, like Konate is left with 1 year. So you see Liverpool are panicking because the guy is refusing to sign a new contract. They also want to sell him. They don't want to sell him now, but the guy is refusing. So if you want to sell him to, how much can you earn for a player with just 1 year? Because next year his issue will be like Arnold, who left for free, practically free, because 10 million a year. We all know that because of the Club World Cup, that's why Madrid paid Arnold 10. Madrid paid Liverpool 10, so he could be able to register Arnold in time. Otherwise, Liverpool would have gotten 0 from him. So sometimes when you are dealing with players, you have to be careful. Very, very careful, especially with Liverpool. Right now, instead, they are having a lot of contract situations. They had last year, they had 3 problems with their big players, and they got 2 and 1 left. Because it was Arnold, Van Dijk, and Salah. And luckily, Salah signed a new contract, Van Dijk also signed a new contract, and Arnold left the club. And this season is Konate. And now we all know the tactics that Madrid are using to sign the players. When your player is left with 2 years contract and they want him, then they start talking to the player. They start telling him, don't worry, come. How much are you being paid? When you come here, you know, Madrid and Barcelona, they have that appeal. When they come to the player, it's difficult for the players to reject those 2 clubs. So when you have players, I tell you, that is why like Chelsea are giving their young players long years contracts. So when you want them, you have to buy them. You see, someone like Enzo is having about 5 years left on his contract. So if Madrid want Enzo, can you wait for 5 years? No, you have to buy. If you want Caicedo, can you wait for 3 years for him to? No, you have to buy. That is why Chelsea are giving their players long contracts so that when they will not suffer some, because before you wait for that player, the player will be in his 30s. And you know, we all know when the player gets to their 30s, their career starts coming downwards. So can you wait for them to reach that age? So when you want them, you have to pay money for them. They will not lose their players to you for free. So that is the reason why Chelsea is giving players long contracts. If you don't know, I'm telling you the reason today. The reason why Chelsea are giving their players long contract is because of that. So Charlie, these are the transfer news that I have for you. So don't worry, follow me on TikTok for more transfer stories, because I'll be coming every day for the updates and other things, because there are new stories that are going to pop up, and the old ones which are star or which are in the middle, I'll come and beef you up and give you more. So Charlie, you go vibe.